Let me set the scene for you. Hundreds of animals, a makeshift surgical site, volunteers running on coffee and sheer moral conviction, local restaurants sending enough food to feed a small army, which, to be fair, is exactly what we are. And me, Mama Kay, covered in something I choose not to identify, holding a trembling chihuahua named, I kid you not, Gordito, while a vet does their thing. And I'm grinning like a complete lunatic because this is one of the best weeks of my entire year. Welcome to Prepped and Petty. I'm Mama Kay, and today we're talking about the prep nobody puts on their supply list, showing up for others, specifically the ones who can't fill out a FEMA form, the four-legged ones, the voiceless ones. And why? If you call yourself a prepper and you haven't thought about community, babe, we need to have a chat. Strap in. This one's got dogs, tacos, and a slight lecture. You're welcome. Okay, real talk. The preparedness community has a problem. And I say this as a card-carrying member who owns more rice than a small restaurant. We are obsessed with individual survival. Our gear, our food, our water, our exit routes, our family, our property. And look, all of that is valid. I'm not here to take your bug-out bag. Keep the bag. But somewhere along the way, a lot of preppers took a hard left turn into lone wolf territory. Like, I'm not helping anyone else. I've got mine. My community isn't my problem. And my absolute favorite, in a real collapse, everyone is on their own. Historians would like to have a word. Because here is what actually happens in every disaster, every crisis, every sustained emergency in recorded human history. The people who survive and who come out the other side with their sanity intact are the ones with community, not the ones with the most canned goods. Community. Trust built before things got bad. Prosody that already exists. People who knew their neighbors' names. 72-hour kid is great. Your network of humans who will show up for you and who you will show up for is greater. You need both. One without the other is just anxiety with better snacks. So everything, stick with me. Twice a year, some brilliant friends of mine run a free mass sterilization clinic in Rincon de Guayabitos, a gorgeous little coastal town not far from my home. And we're talking a full operation, real vets, real surgical equipment, real recovery protocols, hundreds of animals seen in a week, all of it free for the community, all of it funded by donations. Like we're talking 100,000 Canadian dollars a year to keep both clinics running. So it's not a government program, not a corporate initiative, just people who look at a problem. Too many suffering stray animals, communities that want better for them but don't have the resources, and said, fine, we'll fix it ourselves. Sound familiar? It should, because that is exact same energy that drives every serious prepper I have ever respected. Don't wait for someone else to solve it. Build the solution yourself. Get your community involved and make it happen. So the clinic works because of a web of relationships built over years. Vets who donate their time, snowbirds who've been coming to this area for decades and have invested in it, local Mexican families and restaurants who feed the volunteers because they genuinely know that this work matters for their town. Local dog owners who show up because they trust the people running it. This is not charity. This is a community that has been prepping for this problem for years and executing on the solution together. I want you to see it that way because when you think about what you're building, your homestead, your network, your neighborhood relationships, this is a great model. All right, we're going to talk about dogs. Specifically, why are you buying from a breeder when there's a rescue animal out there that has already been through some stuff and is therefore your spiritual twin? I have 5 dogs. Every single one of them is a rescue. And this is the part I love to watch people's faces when I say it. 4 of them are purebreds. I have a Staffy. For those who don't know what a Staffy is, it's a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, or AKA a Pit Bull, 2 Dobermans, and a Chihuahua. I also have Lobo, my little lone wolf husky shepherd mutt, who looks much more like a wolf, thick silvery white coat, moves like something out of a nature documentary. And he's an absolute dumpster fire in terms of energy levels, and I would die for him. And every single one of them was unwanted. My Staffy Bluebell, she was dumped after being a puppy mill. The Dobermans, my red Sunny Boy, was rescued from a situation I won't get into in this episode, but he was literally starving to death. My Dobie girl, Zula, she was thrown away because people didn't like how she barked. And my Chihuahua, well, he was gifted to me by a guy who had so many of them that they kept breeding, but he was responsible enough to bring in his mama to get sterilized at the last clinic, and he gifted me my little Chihuahua boy. Anyway, people will spend $3,000 on a puppy from a breeder, while rescue organizations are full of the exact same breed, sometimes better, waiting for someone who bothered to look. And I'm not going to tell you you're a bad person if you've bought from a breeder. I have family that have registered breeding dogs, and they're amazing, and they treat them amazing, and they don't let them go out and breed all the time. But I just want you to know next time, check first. Breed-specific rescues exist for almost every breed. Google your breed plus rescue plus your region, and you'll find options. I promise you this. So let's make this connection explicitly, because I know someone's listening thinking, okay, so like, what does this have to do with prepping? Everything. Again, community resilience includes animals. In a sustained emergency, extended power outage, regional disaster, supply chain collapse, which is coming, the communities that do best are the ones with the fewest strains on shared resources. A runaway animal population creates disease vectors, resource competition, and humanitarian problems fast. Communities that have invested in animal welfare before a crisis don't have to deal with that on top of everything else. Pets are part of your prep plan, and most people have no plan for them. Do you have your pet's records, their medications, food for 72 hours, a carrier, a destination that accepts animals? Because I'll figure it out later, quote unquote, is not a plan. That is a wish. And shelters turn away animals consistently because they're overloaded. If you love your pet, put them in your emergency binder today. So taking care of the voiceless builds the muscle for taking care of each other. This is maybe the softest thing I'll say on this show, but I believe it completely. Communities that show up for animals, the ones who genuinely cannot ask for help, build an ethic of care that transfers. The neighbors who fostered dogs during the pandemic were often the same ones bringing groceries to the elderly person down the street. It's not a coincidence. Compassion is a practice. So what do you do with all this info? Here's the practical part. 1, if you have animals, make sure they're in your emergency plan. Food, records, medications, a go bag for them. Know your evacuation routes and which ones allow pets. 2, if you're getting a pet, please check rescues first. Not guilt, just information. Look first. You might be surprised. 3, if you want to support the exact work I just spent a week doing, check out my page. There's a link for the J bars, okay? The link will be in my notes and bio. And remember, we need about 100 grand Canadian each year to do these clinics. So every dollar that is donated to that goes directly to the logistics, everything. And donate if you can. Share the link and tag someone who loves animals. That's it. That's the ask. Because here's the thing. And I mean this, the clinic doesn't just show up to help the animals. It helps the communities those animals live in. It builds relationships between volunteers and locals, and it creates trust. It is, in the most literal sense, community preparedness in action. And that's the entirety on brand for this show. That's episode 9. And I want to leave you with this. Prepping is not just about you surviving. It's about you being the kind of person your community can count on before, during, and after things go sideways. It's about showing up for your neighbors, for strangers who need a hand, for a scared little dog in a makeshift surgical suite who has no idea why today is going to change his life for the better. The bunker mentality will keep you alive. The community mentality will make that life worth living. Build the bunker, build the community, feed the ducks, rescue the dogs, and buy the survival starter vault. It's all connected. Trust me. I'm Mama Kay. This is Prepped and Petty. Go do something that matters and drag someone else into it while you're at it.